All right, let's dive into the incredible story of Germany. We're talking about a nation right at the heart of Europe, whose history is this just epic saga. It's got everything: ancient tribes, sprawling empires, devastating wars, and honestly, some miraculous rebirths.
And this quote, you've got to keep this in mind, because it's the key to understanding everything else. This is our central theme. It's a story, not just about power, but about this incredible, stubborn resilience. We're talking about a nation that is almost defined by its ability to learn, to change, and to rebuild itself, literally, from its own ashes.
So to really get Germany, we have to go way back to a time before Germany was even a thing. We're starting out in the ancient forests of Europe, where the seeds of a unique identity were first planted in this land of scattered tribes and constantly shifting borders.
Okay, this right here, this one battle literally changed the course of European history. In the year 9 AD, when Germanic tribes led by a guy named Arminius just annihilated 3 entire Roman legions, they did way more than just win a battle. They basically drew a line in the sand. This victory meant that the lands east of the Rhine River would develop their own distinct Germanic culture, totally separate from the Roman world. You could say it was the birth of this fierce spirit of independence.
Now, for the next 1,000 years, the German-speaking lands were ruled by this thing, the Holy Roman Empire. But, don't let that grand name fool you. It was way less of a unified empire and more of a sprawling, super complicated patchwork quilt of kingdoms, duchies, and free cities. Sure, you had incredible cities like Cologne and Hamburg thriving, but the empire itself? Yeah, it was often an empire in name only.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more fragmented, this moment absolutely shattered it. A monk, Martin Luther, nails his 95 Theses to a church door, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church. The result? The Protestant Reformation, which plunged the German states into decades of just brutal religious warfare. It was a conflict that didn't just reshape faith, it completely redrew the political map of Europe.
So, after centuries of being this fragmented mess, something new starts to bubble up. A ruthless new power emerges. And this is the story of how that collection of states was forcefully hammered into a single, powerful nation.
And the man behind it all was this guy, Otto von Bismarck, the Iron Chancellor. He was a master of what he called realpolitik, which is basically a ruthless, practical focus on state power over any kind of ideology. He used shrewd diplomacy and, when that didn't work, war, to unite the German states under Prussian leadership. And in 1871, after a decisive victory against France, the German Empire was proclaimed. For the very first time in history, Germany was a single unified nation-state.
And wow, did this new German empire rise fast. I mean, breathtakingly fast. But its story is one of incredible heights followed by a totally catastrophic fall. A golden age of culture and industry that ended in the mud and horror of the trenches.
Between 1871 and 1914, Germany's dominance was just undeniable. I mean, this was the era of Einstein, Nietzsche, and Wagner. It was a global leader in science, an absolute powerhouse of industry, and a beacon of philosophy and music. But all of this incredible success, it also fueled a really dangerous sense of national pride and military ambition. And that pride, well, it led straight to disaster. A complicated web of alliances dragged Germany into World War I in 1914. After 4 years of unimaginable bloodshed, Germany was defeated. And the Treaty of Versailles that followed, it imposed these crushing penalties, leaving the nation humiliated, broke, and furious. This anger just festered during the chaotic years of Germany's first attempt at democracy, the Weimar Republic, creating the absolute perfect storm for extremism. And it was from that soil, from all that national humiliation and economic despair, that the darkest chapter in German and maybe even world history would grow.
The year everything changed was 1933. Exploiting all that chaos and desperation of the Weimar Republic, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party came to power, quickly dismantling democracy and setting up a brutal totalitarian regime.
And just 6 years later, their hateful ideology of racial supremacy and territorial expansion led to the invasion of Poland in 1939. That act ignited the Second World War and plunged the entire continent into darkness.
The result was a moral and physical catastrophe that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. This number, over 50 million lives lost in the war. That includes 6 million Jewish people who were systematically murdered in the Holocaust.
It was a cataclysm that left Germany and so much of the world in absolute ruins.
So, after the war, Germany as a single sovereign country, well, it was gone. Defeated and occupied, it became a front line in a brand new global conflict, the Cold War. The nation was literally split right down the middle. In the West, you had a democratic, capitalist republic aligned with the United States and its allies, and in the East, a communist state, totally controlled by the Soviet Union and sealed off from the world behind the Iron Curtain. For over 40 years, there were two Germanys, two completely different worlds. This timeline just shows you the decades of that division, and the most powerful symbol of it all was the Berlin Wall, built in 1961, a concrete scar through the heart of the country. But then, 1989. As the Soviet Union started to crumble, the people rose up. The fall of the Berlin Wall was this moment of pure, unbelievable joy. And by October of 1990, Germany was whole once again. And that kicks off the most recent and maybe the most remarkable chapter of our story, the transformation of a reunified Germany from the center of the Cold War to a pillar of European stability and leadership. Today's Germany is really built on these three pillars. It's the undisputed economic engine of Europe, it's a deeply stable and robust democracy, and it's a global leader in technology and engineering. I mean, what an incredible turnaround. You know, for decades, under pragmatic leaders like Angela Merkel, Germany has championed this quiet, steady, and principled kind of leadership on the world stage. It's become a symbol of what it worked so incredibly hard to build. And when you get right down to it, Germany's modern strength wasn't achieved through military might or conquest, but through the exact opposite. It was built on a commitment to education, to industry, and above all to peace, a very conscious decision to learn from the horrors of its own past. Which brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? Germany's story is one of falling and rising, of destruction and rebirth. Having confronted its past and rebuilt itself into a force for peace and stability, the great question that's left is, what will it build next?